Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. If you are enjoying this show, you can also check out the Premier Boys Podcast, hosted by myself, Aaron Keatuk Sands, the Star Rider Rod, and Long Live Chief Mighty Mal, where we discuss everything that's going on in the culture, from love, relationships, music, sex, politics, and many more. We can make you laugh, but the show could get a little raunchy, and it may not be for everybody. But if you are curious to listen to the Premier Way podcast, you can tune in to the Premier Way podcast every Wednesdays at 12 a.m. or all podcast platforms, a part of the Premier Powerverse Network. Other shows that you can check out on the Premier Powerverse Network is King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Rider Rod every Monday at 12 p.m. And Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live the Chief Mighty Mal every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Listen and support every show in the Premier Powerverse, including this show, Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, who is also a part of the Premier Powerverse Network. Thank you for listening to this message and check out the show. Chill! You are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 10. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, one and fourth of the Premier Voice Podcast, your host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And this is the mid-season 10 finale of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And on this episode, I'm just going to be honest about how I've been feeling lately. I know I haven't presented y'all an episode for the last couple of weeks. So, I'm just going to tell you how I feel on this episode. Pretty much an improv episode. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
This is Graham,
Sarah,
and Michaela
from the Chime In Podcast.
and you're listening to
Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. That is time for Gentleman Facts, quote of the day. And today, quote of the day is aim for greatness and choose your own path. And I say this because if you want to get something done in your life, you have to choose your own path and do not follow what everybody wants you to become, and be something that you want to become. And that is today with the Gentleman Facts, quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, and I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spin-Off Series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcasts every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer!
My name is Lacey, and you are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at the time for the mid-season 10 finale of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And originally, I had a different topic for this episode, but we're going to go a different route. And you're probably wondering how come you didn't hear from Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast in the last couple of weeks. And the reason is, honestly, because I've been pretty burnt out with everything that's been happening in my life. I've been very uninspired to record something on the show. I've been a little discouraged because I didn't want to record an episode, and it just didn't come out right. And I've just been feeling stuck about where I'm at in my life. I mean, for the most part, of course, life is pretty good, of course, but it's just like, where am I heading in my future? And I just gonna have to be honest, you know. And y'all know that I love doing this show. I love doing Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. But, you know, I always just hit a roadblock, and I just been feeling really stuck. And pretty much, what is next for the show? And I do have a lot of goals that I want to accomplish with the show. Because, you know, we've been here for 7 years. And I have major goals for the show, but it just haven't been happening because life just keep getting in the way. Even though life had been getting in the way, I do love what I do. And if I really do love this, I should never be too busy for something that I love. You know, that go for the show, it go for family, it go for friends, it go for my relationship, it go for anything that you love to do. And honestly, I've been feeling pretty discouraged on a lot of things. Now, a lot of the goals that I have set, I've been putting in the back burner. But I'm here to stop doing that and just take a step back, replan my next move, and go out there and go harder than I did before. Because like I said, if you really have something that you want to get done, you just have to go out there and get it done. But for the most part, I just want to take the time to thank everybody for continuing to check out Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, even though we didn't record the episode for 3 weeks. Thank you for the listens. Thank you for getting us #1 back on the chart from Personal Journal, dating from music interviews for self-improvement, and getting us back in the top 10 for exciting culture. You know, it really means a lot that y'all continue to listen to Mr. Gentleman Like The podcast on Good Pods. Thank you for the new subscription on Spotify and YouTube. You know, it really means a lot. And yeah, you know, it's just a lot going on in my life right now. I'm just doing a lot of things, you know, continue to rebuild myself, continue to go in therapy, continue to other things that focus on bettering my future, go to the gym, and working a lot, And honestly, I ain't gonna lie, working and try to do something that you love to do will have you burned out. And that's one thing I have a fear of because I don't want to do one thing and then forget the other thing. But that what's been happening. But I'm going to take a step back, take a break, and then come back. And I'll bring y'all the rest of season 10 of Gentlemen Like the Podcast. Y'all deserve that. Y'all deserve more solo episodes. Y'all deserve more roundtable discussion. Y'all deserve more guests sharing their life journeys. And more fun conversation. Y'all deserve the newest spin-off series of the show that I plan on dropping, which is the Wrestle Conversation, the series coming real soon. I got a lot of future projects that I'm working on with the podcast community. The biggest podcast crossover, the series with Jalen and Coral. Name had not been announced yet. We are working on that. Also working on a couple of podcast shows that I am executive producers of. Also got a photo shoot for Mr. Jim Like the Podcast. Y'all will see that coming real soon. And of course, my 39th birthday celebration, where this year I would be going to Atlantic City to celebrate my birthday. And honestly, this would be the perfect time to take a step back and replan my next move because honestly, I do need a vacation, whether it's a big one or a small one. And I ain't gonna lie, life has been draining a lot, work, dating, and that aspect haven't been working out. And other things that I want to get done, but I haven't been getting it done because one thing taking over your life and you just pretty much burned out. But of course, it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to take a step back and plan your next move. And that's what I'm definitely going to do. And I know I tell y'all that a lot, but I'm going to take my own advice and do that. So I could give y'all a better Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman. I could give y'all a better Mr. Gentleman Like That Podcast. So when we do come back, I'm going to give y'all the content that y'all deserve. And we go end up capturing the goals that we have set and then create some new goals to continue to grow this amazing platform. And even though this is pretty much a very short improv episode, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode. And I ain't gonna lie, before I go, I was inspired. One reason why I want to start recording again, I was inspired again when I watched the Michael Jackson biopic. And honestly, even though a lot of things were missing from that movie, for the most part, I was inspired. I was inspired from the music that he created, because he was definitely a legend. He definitely did a lot. He inspired a lot of people. And, watching that movie and listen to the music again, it inspired me to really come back and to get back on the mic. Honestly, like I said in the beginning, I was burned out with everything else in my life. I was very uninspired to record something. I was discouraged because I didn't want to record something and it felt like I would just put out something, just put out something, and it felt like I wasn't connected with y'all. And I just felt stuck about, my next goal overall. But even when you're feeling stuck, even when you feel like you don't know where to go next, even when you hit a roadblock, you just have to take a step back and just plan your next move. So next time you come back harder than you was before. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that checked out the very short improv episode about me just being honest about how I've been feeling. And just know that I am really good, but I've just been very uninspired. But I'm happy to come back and bring y'all an episode to let you know that I will be taking a short break. I will be coming back better than it was yesterday, because only at the end of the day, you always want to be better than you was yesterday, because the point in life is to grow into a better version of yourself. And I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman. Now, I am the host of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this commercial break is brought to you by Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spin-Off Series Thursdays. And Spin-Off Series Thursday is the new home for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spin-Off Series that brought to you shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast, The Old School Show, and Date Night Talk Podcast. And A Conversation About Music Podcast is a music spin-off series where we talk about anything music, from the current music scene and the old school music scene, where we interview many guests that's in the music industry and artists about their music journey. We have a segment game called The Face Off, which is a versus inspired game. And we have roundtable discussion about variety of music topics. And y'all can check out A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Every first Thursday at 12 a.m. Now, the Old School Show that featured myself and the star Roddy Rod is a show where we discuss anything old school, from music, TV shows, movies, and many more. We also bring in guests to join in on the old school conversation. Y'all can check out the Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. Every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And last but not least, we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B, where we talk about anything relationship related topics like love, dating, relationships, cheating, the good and the bad, and many more. And y'all can check out this spin-off series, Date Night Talk Podcast, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So look out for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Spin-Off Series Thursday, A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday. The Old School Show with myself and the star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursdays, and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays. And y'all can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays for the main series, and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays. And thank y'all for checking out this commercial break. And now back to your regularly scheduled program. True! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into the latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, the mid-season 10 finale of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you for riding with me no matter what type of episode we have, whether it's a short episode, whether it's a long episode. Thank you. Thank you for just supporting me and never giving up on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. It really means a lot. And y'all already know where y'all can check out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sunday for the main series, every Thursday for spin-off series Thursday, where we have shows like A Conversation About Music Podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m., Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second Thursday at 12 p.m., the Top 20 Cats That Show the series with myself and Jalen every third Thursday at 12 p.m. and the Old School Show with myself and the Star Right Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Look out for the new spin-off series Thursday shows, Date Night Talk Stories, coming real soon. And look out for Wrestle Conversation, the show, coming soon. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more that can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, our Jesus. The more y'all reach, the more people know about the Gentleman Like That podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ken, a.k.a. The Gentleman Like That podcast, where you can check out the audio version of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. You can watch the visual version of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast called Mr. Gentleman Like That Pocket TV. And you can check out Mr. Gentleman Facts Quote of the Day every Mondays on YouTube and all social media platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Ken, a.k.a. Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast. If you want to be guest on Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email at Ken, a.k.a. Mr. Gentleman @gmail.com, or just hit me up on social media at Ken _Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, Ken _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN, and we can set something up. I'm still looking for guests for season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Like That podcast, or spin-off series Thursday shows. And of course, you can check me out on the Premier Boy podcast with myself, Aaron Keith-Oxen, Star Right Rod, and Long Live Chief Mighty Mouth. New episodes of the Premier Boys podcast every Wednesdays at 12 p.m., a part of the Premier Power Network. You can also check out King Talk with Aaron Sand, hosted by Aaron Keith-Oxen. You can check out all episodes right now and look out for his newest show at the Hours with Aaron Sands coming soon. You can also check out Star Time Podcast hosted by the Star Right Rod. All episodes out right now. Look out for the new episode of Welcome to the Trilogy hosted by Long Live Chief Mighty Mouth. New episode coming real soon. Listen and support every show in the Premier Power Network. And at this time, it's time for everybody's favorite segment. It's time for the Gentleman Like That shout-outs. Well, we shout out 4 to 5 shows and we get it in flowers. Last time we did this, we did the wrestling shout-outs, Java 10 podcast, the Wrestling Fans Insight, Let's Talk About It with Ends, Bill Wrestling Girls, Wrestling Lying Down, and Wrestling with Faith. Check out those 6 shows that we mentioned on the last Mr. Gentleman Like That shout-outs. And today we got 5 new shows for Mr. Gentleman Like That shout-out. The first show we're going to talk about is The American Dreams in the Eyes of Immigrants, hosted by Haley De La Cruz. And The American Dreams in the Eyes of Immigrants is a 2-time award-winning podcast about sharing stories of immigrants and the immigrants' experience, including their first memory of the United States, the culture shock, their experiences, and their journey learning and the discovery to a new country. And, you know, this is an amazing show. And I love this show because you learn something new about every guest that comes on the show. And she even shares stories about her journey as well. And, you know, Haley De La Cruz was on with The Gentleman Like That podcast season 8. And that was a really good interview. And this show just keep killing it. So check out The American Dreams and the Eyes of Immigrants. I think everybody should check out this show, especially more than ever now. And thank you for, you know, sharing the immigrant story. This is a really good show. Check out The American Dreams and the Eyes of Immigrants. The next show we're going to talk about is Pedal of Support, hosted by Mama D. And Pedal of Support is a podcast that offers advice from mom to anyone that need a little extra love and support. You also have guests that come on the show where she has segments called Sleepover, and she interviews guests. And, you know, this is a really good show. She is a very, very supportive person, very positive person. And I can listen to a show all the time. and she shared really good advice. So check out Pedal of Support podcast. This show is a part of the Unfiltered Studio Network, and check it out. She's doing amazing things. Check out the show. The next show that we will talk about is the Podcast Cafe, Insight from Podcasters to Podcasters, hosted by Haley Haggard. And this podcast is where we serve up everything you need to know about podcasting, from tips to strategies for podcasters by podcasters. And this is a really good show where she shared tips about podcasting, everything you need about podcasting. And she had many guests who is in the podcast community. And I love listening to the show because you learn something new every day. Whether it's you a new podcaster or an old podcaster, you definitely learn something new every day. I think everybody should check out Podcast Cafe, Insight from Podcaster to Podcaster. You definitely will learn something on this show. The next show that we're going to talk about is You the Boss Podcast, hosted by Pamela. And this show transforms one entire mindset by bringing out one inner confident in health, relationship, family, and all of life. And this is a really good show, a very inspirational show. It's about many topics. And I've been enjoying the show a lot more lately because she does really talk about really good topics. And this show could really motivate you. So check out the You the Boss podcast. And the last show we're going to talk about is Cash Out Loud podcast, hosted by Cash. And this show is a no-nonsense, unfiltered audio autobiography. Raw collection, real timeline, real accountability, and real growth. And this show is a really interesting show because she share about her life. One thing I like about this show is that she is really honest, and she really share what's going on. And what that would say that shout out to her for going on the platform and sharing, everything that going on in her life. That take a lot of courage to really do that and to go out there and tell your story, because you just never know who really needs to hear it. You never know who is going through the same thing that she's been going through. So shout out to Cash for putting out Cash Out Loud podcast. And yeah, this is a really interesting show. I think everybody should check out the show. Check out the 5 shows that I mentioned on this week. Mr. Gentleman, like that shout out. The American Dreams in the Eyes of Immigrants, hosted by Haley De La Cruz. Pedal of Support, hosted by Mama D. Pocket Cafe, Insight for Podcasters, 2 podcasters, hosted by Haley. You the Boss podcast, hosted by Pamela. Cash Out Loud podcast, hosted by Cash. And that is this week, Mr. Gentleman, like that shout outs. Yeah! And of course, at me on Good Pods, Ken, Mr. Gentleman. Y'all already know Good Pod caters to many independent podcasters. You see where everybody listens to. We can rate each other's shows that we had to chart. And of course, this week we had the Mr. Gentleman, like the achievement, but we spotlight everything Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast is doing. And of course, we are on the Good Pod charts for Society Culture. On the normal chart, we're on number 76. On the normal chart, and number 7 on the indie chart, we dropped a lot. So we haven't put out no episode for the last 3 weeks. But thank you for everybody who do listen to Mr. Gentleman like that podcast. It really means a lot. Birth of a Journal, we're number 10 on the normal charts. Number 4 on the indie charts. For Dayton, we're number 7 on the normal charts. And number 1 on the indie charts. For Music Interview, we're number 8 on the normal charts. And number 3 on the indie charts. Self-Improvement, number 35 on the normal chart. And number 5 on the indie chart. Thank you everybody that continue to listen to Mr. Gentleman. Like that podcast on Good Pod, and listening to all podcast platforms. It really means a lot. Once again, I thank you. And of course, check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethatpodcast.com, where you can check out all episodes of Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, all 276 episodes of Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast. You can check out all guests who've been on Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast, or 84 guests who've been on Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast. You can check out all guest appearances that I've been on. More guest appearances coming real soon as I am going back on a Mr. Gentleman, like that podcast promo tour where I go on a lot of guest appearances. You can check out the first guest appearance I've been on this year. Talk back and visit Big Ricoro, and we did the biggest pocket crossover ever. So check out those two shows. They got many more. Guest appearance coming real soon. And check out the official merch store of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.mrgentlemanlifestylepodcaststore.dasher.com, where we have shirts, hoodies, mugs, masks, hats, and many more. Support the official merch store so we can upgrade your listening experiences. Now check out the official merch store of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.mrgentlemanlifestylepodcaststore.dasher.com. Check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, or search Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast or all podcast platforms. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning into the latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you to everybody for checking out the mid-season 10 finale of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. It really means a lot. And thank you once again. So when will Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast return? So first, May 17th. Y'all already know what I do on May 17th. I celebrate my birthday on May 17th. So I will bring y'all my 39th birthday episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast live from Atlantic City. So I'll be doing it live from Atlantic City this year. So check out my 39th birthday episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast on May 17th. And when will season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast return? The second half of season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast will return in the first Sunday of July. So look out for the first Sunday of July for the second half of season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you once again to everybody who tuned in to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Whether you've been here from the beginning or if you're a new listener, thank you once again for checking out Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast and going through the journey with me. And check out the first 10 episodes of season 10 of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast so y'all can be ready for the second half of season 10 in July. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode. Cheers!
Hi, my name's Anastasia, and you're now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast.